Hi friends, welcome. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping in. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. So today we are going to be making a badge reel, and the person that we're making it for, the young lady, she wants a Stanley Cup badge reel. So our decal, we took the picture off of Pinterest, put it into Design Space in our Cricut, used Print and Cut, and we cleaned it up in Design Space, used Print and Cut, printed it. This is on clear sticker paper from Hobby Lobby. I've got a little acrylic round. These are not the good ones that you can do sublimation on. These are a little bit cheaper pieces, but they work well. I sort of got tricked when it came to these. Anyways, she's a Jeep girl, so we're going to use a Jeep. I've got my silicone beads. We're going to use a clear badge reel. This is from Hobby Lobby. Some white glitter. Tools that I need. And that's it. This is going to be super simple. It's not going to take but maybe 10 minutes. I'm going to be using the hard type UV resin. And it's starting to warm up here in Florida, and I think that we're getting to a place where it's going to start staying consistently warm. I think I have 5 more weeks left in this semester, and then I'm off for 6 weeks, and I'm excited because I'm going to start getting back into doing more epoxy. This winter has just been so cold with no real time, like periods of time in between of warm, and since I do epoxy out in my garage, I need it to be warm in order to do the epoxy. So, but we will be starting back up some epoxy, and I'm super excited for that. All right, so let's get started making our badge reel. All right, so we're going to start by taking the plastic off. Now, on this particular badge reel, what the young lady wants is a white glittered background. So I chose to use clear for this because on badge reels, I like being able to put the glittered background on the back side because it keeps there from being any lumps and bumps, and it's nice and smooth that way without having to use too much resin and like make it super heavy. So that's my preference. Now on these decals, I like to again make them a little bit bigger off the edges and then clean them up with some sandpaper. I feel like it gives it just a nice smooth edge. So clean that up, and then I'm going to take the plastic off the other side, and these pieces are really thin, so I like to put them on top of something. The picture, when I ordered these from Amazon, had them as the cast with like the brown covering on them, and it turns out it was these cheap ones, which is fine, except that you can't do sublimation on them. So, but just for like badge reels like these, it's fine. So I'm just mixing up some white glitter with my UV resin, and I'm making this really thick. So with white, and to make a real nice white sparkly background, I'm going to make my glitter very sandy, and it's going to be thick and just kind of to the edges. And then I'm going to go over it with some more glitter. When I take it out, I'll do another layer of UV resin, just a thin one, and then another sprinkling of glitter. And then I won't cover it, even though it's kind of sandy, I won't cover it until the end, just to A, not waste UV resin, and B, not make it too heavy when I go to put my badge reel on. Instead of doing UV resin twice, I will make a nice thin covering over the sandy part of the glitter, and then put my Badgeril on at the same time. So kind of look at it. I figured it would need another layer just because of the way white goes through the background. So now I'm just going to do a thin layer of just UV. That real like sandy texture of thick sandy texture of UV resin up front really helps to give it a good base when you're using a light color. So I say white, but I do this with any light color that I'm using just because it does give a nice base and allows it to have a nice shine going through. So put these in. So each time I put it under, it's for 120 seconds, and I'm using the Magic Cure Light by Glitter, not Glitter Chimp. I keep saying Glitter Chimp, by Resin Rockers. Little bit expensive for a light, but totally worth it. Like, this thing works so good. My projects come out so great and so fast with this light. And also, I told you that my clear Badgerils, for some reason I said Hobby Lobby, they are from Amazon. I am sorry about that. So now I'm just going to put a layer over the decal piece of this, of UV resin, and just a nice, this is kind of a thin layer going all the way to the ends. And then when this is cured, then I'll come back and do a thicker kind of dome over it to give it a good finish. So just make sure you go all the way, to your ends on this. Some people say that they like to make their decals like less than the acrylic reel so that it doesn't come off. I've never had any issue. It's why I sort of like sand my edges down, but I've never had any. I've been making these for a long time, and I've had zero problems with my UV peeling off my Badgerils because I go to the end with my pictures. So I guess that's just sort of preference, but my preference is to go, all the way to the end. And then I take my UV resin completely around, just using my toothpick to make sure that everything's nice and covered. Give it a nice glance from the side, and you'll be able to see if you have any divots in it. So that looks good. Now I'm going to give it a nice round top. So when I do this, I like to start from the inside and go around in a circle, not all the way to the edges. And then I'm going to, because I've already got UV resin on it, it will tend to flow where the resin is. So I just take it, and instead of using my toothpick, because I want it to be nice and round, I just take it and swirl it around and move it. And then I will use my toothpick like on the edges if I need to. But when I want a nice, like more round shape to it, I do it this way. And then I'll use my toothpick if I need to on the edges, and then I need it a little more on the edge, and I'm just going to go around the edge and then just make sure that it's all nice and even. And again, I have no bubbles in this, but if I did, I could use my heat gun to get rid of them real quick. Or if I needed to spread anything a little bit more. And then under it goes. And so now we will do our Badgeril. Now you guys know that I am not a fan of, when I do beads on the Badgeril, I'm not a fan of taking off this little hook piece here normally. But on these particular Badgerils, I have no choice because this wire is a thicker wire, and it just takes a lot more to get the piece through. I'll always try first to get it through, but generally I always, on these particular ones only, So far, I'm sure there's others that I'll have to, but like my Dollar Tree ones, I don't have to. And, you know, in my brain, it's just another thing to have to get back together correctly. But on these, I do have to. Then I'm going to put my beads on, my little Jeep bead, and then put it back through and tie my knot. I do a double knot and then pull it nice and tight before I unclip it. You have to make sure that it's clipped or secured in some way. And as you can see, like when I clip it, I also wrap my string around. If your string accidentally comes undone before you get it back through that little piece on the bottom, you will lose it. So now I'm going to do my snaps. I'm going to make them look like I have some beads in there. So I just have some glitter. Now I make this, again, a nice thick. Look at those veins, man. Every time I see my hand like that, I'm like, dude, how does anybody ever miss IVs on me? Anyways, that's the nurse in me. So nice and thick, and then just fill up my bead. Now, on this one, because the little plastic piece there is sort of bent up, I normally do both at one time and then put them under. I just stuck this under real quick for like 3 seconds to get it hard, and then came back, did the other side, and I always hold it under for just a minute before I let it loose. And so now it's all done. Now remember, if your little bead pieces are still tacky, like if you haven't let them cure really well and you push it back together and touch those bead pieces, you'll leave like fingerprints in them. So either don't touch them or make sure they're cured completely when before you take them out. Now, this is what I was talking about. So, I don't want it like crunchy on the back, but I wanted to wait till the end. So instead of cleaning up the back and then also putting UV resin on for my badge reel, I'm doing it both at the same time. So just giving that a thin layer so that it's nice and smooth, and then figure out where I want it. The nice thing is with these clear ones, even with that glitter, I could see through to see where I want my badge reel. And then I hold it in place and stick it under for a second. And I'm just cleaning up with some alcohol. And here is my finished product. And it's super cute. I hope she likes it. And it's got her little Jeep girl on it that she wanted as well. And that's it.